Hello everyone, this is Snack from Crow's Nest, and I didn't expect to be back so soon after Deck Devastators this last weekend, but on Saturday there was the RBET hosted by Keegan of E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just kind of decided to enter on a whim. I wanted to play, didn't really care about the results, so I just decided to play my favorite deck, which is Cat. And I ended up going, I ended up finishing 10th in Swiss, which since two people in the top 8 already had invites, I ended up getting a pass down. So I will be invited to RBET Rulers at the end of the year. Deck list is pretty, this is like the standard deck list, the standard 42. Maki actually just got 9th at Deck Devastators with this exact 42 cards. The only difference, I think, in the entire, I guess it would be 72 cards, might be the Snowman Eater. He might have been playing a different card instead of Dark End. He might have been playing like Thought Ruler. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm playing Snowman Eater over Ryo after seeing the success that Snowman Eater had last weekend. And I thought I would maybe bring this in against RBET. Anyway, I'm probably just going to go over some of the replays. I thought there were some cool plays in the games that I ended up playing for the tournament. So, yeah, I'll just get right into it. So, round 1, I played against X-Sabers. Oh, and my opponent was, like, late, so they had the game loss in round 1. Or game loss. So, let's see. I still don't know what they're playing, even though it's game 2, but Minecon Herbellum is always nice. Usually you can, like, the punish here is if it's Sangan or, like, Goblin Zombie, but usually you can just, like, kind of ruin them with this. I guess they decided to hold on to the track instead of dropping it on the damage, or maybe they didn't know. But yeah, I wanted to make AFD to preserve the Black Rose. They're playing Rat, so I thought like, oh, there might be a Grand Mole coming. I had no idea that they would be on Sabers. So I still was like checking what they're on. And when I saw this, I was terrified. Because Sabers are like my worst matchup, period. Because this monster, if it runs over a Dandy token, which I don't really have control over. Like sometimes Dandy tokens are just going to be on the field. If this runs over a Dandy token, then they get to revive a X-Saber, and then they drop Fall Troll, and then they go crazy, all kinds of stuff. And also, if I try to Avarice target Herbellum, they can chain Gotham's E-Call to make my Avarice fizzle, and they get to summon my Herbellum from my grave. So, I've played this matchup a lot against Fitz, and it's absolutely a nightmare for me. So they Minecon the Debris, which is funny because you can't sync with it. I mean, they could have actually made an Iron Chain here. I don't know. I probably would have if I were them instead of the Cataster, but it was not going to matter. I mean, I guess it gives me back the Debris, but I don't know how much that mattered. So they're down pretty bad. They like don't have a play here. I think they activate the effect because they think that they can... I don't know, I guess they just, like, did not read AFD. They thought it could revive from grave, and I was like, that's not what AFD does. So, they just admitted defeat there. They could have tried to run over the Debris, and they might have been in a fine spot at that point. I don't know. Anyways, so we take those. Round 2, I'm up against Frogs, Hero Frogs. Starts off with 2 upstarts. I don't know what I'm against yet either. So I just see that. I was like scared this would be Raikou, but it wasn't. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's not Raikou, I guess I'll just try and pop it. And it was nice to make the dupe miss timing. I got lucky and the opponent does not have dupe access somehow. Or Treeborn access, that is. Pick off an enemy controller that they were trying to save. I guess they're trying to Caius me by dropping Fader. Do I Solemn this? Yeah, I guess I do. I was like, you don't have Treeborn. I'm just gonna not let you do anything. And the fader kind of tells me that they don't have any other... I don't know why they didn't drop Trag there. But the fader, dropping fader on the previous turn makes it seem like they don't have much defense. Luckily I had the book for the Brain Con there. And when I have Erebellum, it's great. So here, I attack, they take damage, and then like 5 seconds after they take damage, I point at Malicious Edge, and then they drop Trag, which is weird. So I was like, no, you have to do that in chain to Erebellum, not when it resolves or whatever. So then I attack with the tomato. And I have Sidra Engrave because I milled off Raikou. So I sink off the Trag into Dark End so that next turn I basically have lethal through like a set substitute or something. I think I might have been expecting Miracle here too, because I saw Malicious Edge, so I knew that there was a good chance at Miracle, but I had the Heavy and Brains, so I was like, it doesn't matter. They had to have Gores, exactly. Or I guess Battle Fader would have been good too, yeah. Anyways, won that game. Frogs are scary. I opened the one of Solis, which I was like excited about. But yeah. Then I eat a Heavy Storm, which isn't great. Maybe you should have only set Solemn? I don't know. Here I was like, which one should I set? Should I set Bellum or Debris? I set Debris because I don't want them, like, there's a chance that they attack with something small. And also, like, Bellum just has more options if I get, like, I don't know, a Brain or something, I guess, was my thought process. But turns out I should have set the Bellum there, so I would have Debris for the next turn. It probably, like, I was probably losing this game no matter what. Like, but since I drew the Foolish, I could have sent Dandy, and then Debris revived the Dandy. I think I actually considered holding the Soul Release just to preserve info so they don't play around Soul Release in Game 2 or Game 3. But yeah, I was just like, well, I might as well try to win this game. There's a good chance that they have like trash in their hand. Yeah, so that's game. Starlight Road is funny. 2 Bellum isn't great if I ever draw Cat or Monk. But whatever. I just said it because basically like, the way that I have to beat frogs is by putting all the cards on the field and like tempoing them out. I have to rush them down, and if I'm rushing them down with 1 normal summon per turn is just not going to work. So I have to rush them down with my back row, if that makes any sense. In the sense that I just have to always have a stop for everything they do. And if I play like timidly with 1 back row, I just like can't risk it. So that's why I said in the Starlight. Plus they will go into like black rows with Junk Synchron sometimes, and it protects against Ab-Zero potentially. So I thought it might be worth bringing in. And I'm siding out like a MST or something. So here I double checked to see if there's anything undamaged. And then I didn't want to activate Soul Release here, but I'm like, I was just, for some reason, I think I just thought I need to activate Soul Release right now. Because normally you want to get the both Treeborn and you want to hit both Treeborn with it, but it just seemed like I absolutely had to do it right then and there. And right now my back row is like completely fake. This is funny. So I was thinking of maybe spending Kai's here, but I didn't want to. If I had spent Caius, it would have been so good for me. But I decided to smashing so I could like rip a card maybe. And then I attack. They have Malevolent Catastrophe, which is hilarious because if I had kept the Smashing Ground set, I would have been able to activate Starlight Road. And then of course I ripped the Treeborn. Unfortunate. So like this is just awful for me if they draw anything, but unfortunately for me they only drew another Swat Frog. And then bring back the Treeborn. They had to do it to protect, but I'm going to punish them for it because I have the Caius. So now they're feeling bad. They need a hero. If they draw a hero here, they're... Actually, that's exactly lethal, so never mind. So on to match 3. And somehow, I'm 2-0, and this person is 2-0, and they're on Morphtronic. And they beat Nier, who's a really good player, too. So, honestly, while I was playing them, first of all, I was surprised to see Morphtronic cards, and I also drew the Titanial, of course. But, just my unfamiliarity with Morphtronic cards, was tricky because like I don't know what I'm supposed to play around here. I knew that there was this like trap here that was like kind of like a gravity bind, but I didn't know exactly what it was called. I was like trying to look it up. What did I do here? I have the Cyber Dragon, which I'm like, let's go. Main deck Cyber Dragon. I'm gonna get to Contact Fuse. But I don't think it ends up mattering this game. Because I think I just heavy here. This is so funny because they chalice me, and that's just enough for me to be able to run over the 1800 defender. They're like down bad. And just scoop on the Dust Tornado. So I definitely played this game wrong. I go like super aggressive. First of all, I didn't read this card. It's a Thunder. I was like, oh, I'm gonna Special Sidra, contact this off. I Special Sidra, and then I'm like, then I read the card, and I'm like, that's a Thunder for some reason. This is not a machine. So that's really bad for me because now I know that my Sidra's getting contacted off. And at this point, I think I just like go like crazy aggressive. And once again, I don't know what their cards do exactly. I just knew that there was something that was like very stally. And I thought we can try Stardust into some Mirror Force, but this is like Gravity Bind except for them. They get to play and I don't. Which is funny because normally like my deck is pretty okay with Gravity Bind since Airbellum is a level 3 and it's pretty big. Anyways, they're going crazy. Morphtronic can actually go off. I know I've played James where he's played Morphtronics, and I think I have. Maybe I've only watched it, but anyway, the deck can definitely go crazy sometimes. And I drew the Monk, which isn't doing anything since I have the Cat already. I think my plan here is to make, Black Rose. And I have this to protect from Starlight Road. But they have the Chalice, so... If that black rose had gone through, I think I'd probably win. So yeah, now I lose, because this thing, it can attack twice, and it's hitting for 3k each time. So I lose this one. I played it poorly as well. Like, I lost it, like, my first turn, I think, is when I lost. But I drew, like, really well here in game 3. Yeah. Setting this so I can pick off a back row. Didn't get to pick off a back row. But, like, if they set something, I'll get to hit that, is the idea. Here, I'm going to go for it by pitching the book, because I have protection already. I'm just kind of ignoring their thing, because, like, it could be map, I guess. Unfortunately, I milled a Bellum off the Ryko, so I can't go into double Bellum here. Because I only play the 2 to avoid drawing too many copies and just having a bunch of normal summons stuck in my hand. I do get to pop the back row, activate Avarice. I'm leaving the Ryko for, it's good for Sork and Debris to leave Ryko in the grave. Even though I was going to have another Ryko, but. And then I have Dust Shoot, which is nice. Avarice into Dust Shoot heavy. Pop this, summon Sangan. Next turn, planning to tribute over the Sangan for Caius. And I think I know about the road from a Dust Shoot. I think I know, like, all the cards at this point, so it's just like they're just not doing well. They're gonna book this, I guess. This is funny. So what is this one's effect? It can attack twice. I could have gone into, like, I actually couldn't have. The cat actually can only summon 2 Bellums at this point, because all 3 Rykos are out of the deck. But I just set the trap stun because I know I can I know I can win if I have the trap stun. So here, this is, like, so extra, but I wanted to play around absolutely every card, like play around Book, play around, I don't know, Solemn. So I start by asking for Solemn, popping this monster. Then I flip trap stun preemptively, so their back row is just, like, dead. That negates, like, the things I care about, and then Heavy Storm deletes if it's, like, Book or something, and then I just tribute for Titanial, attack for Exact. I could have just summoned the 2 Bellum, but this was more fun for me. Round 4, I'm up against Don't Copy, and he's on Vayu. And we have, like, an epic rock, paper, scissors duel at the beginning. This game, I didn't draw great. So I set Ryko, and I set my entire hand, because I think I was planning to maybe even protect this Ryko, because my hand is so bad, and I need it to stick or something. So maybe I can drop Caius next turn. And I have the Solemn to protect my back row, obviously. I still don't know what Don't Copy's on. I see that, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, it's Vayu. This is bad, because now he just, like, that's a +1 for him. Because he runs over my Ryko. And I don't even get to pop something. And then, of course, I draw Gores for turn after setting my entire hand. So I'm like, this game is lost. I drew Gores with 3 back row already set. And I have Tight. And I'm drawing another Caius. Like, I was so sure I had this game lost. But he's just, like, picking off my back row. And I'm like, just go for it. Please, pick them all off. Because there's no way he's expecting Gores. But I drew it after I set my entire hand. So yeah, and he's on 4 darks. On the Raikou he milled 3 darks instead of 2. I made sure to check that. I was like, oh my god. So I get extremely lucky here. Like this is just like really going my way. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I guess I just have to Caius. It's really my only play. And he already milled Gores too, so I'm not like, even if he hadn't, I'd probably just have to go for it because my hand is so weak, but it's funny that I didn't even have to fear. And like, he's dead next turn. He draws a dead Dust Shoot. He has the 2 Vayu and Sirocco stuck in his hand. He milled his 2 Greffers off the Raikou. So yeah, it's just like not good for him. I just keep the Caius train going and he scoops. So that one was a little bit ridiculous. I feel like I would be so tilted if I were don't copy there. So my hand's kind of slow. I don't have any starters really. Yeah, I still don't have any starters. Pretty sure I just set my 2 back row. Oh, and also when I saw he went for this turn 1, I'm like, there's DDV set. Like one of these back row is deck dev. Absolutely. So I was actually happy with it because I'm like, look, you're completely whiffing. If you deck dev, that's just a +2 for me. So he's getting aggressive because he knows he has deck dev. So like if I torrential or mirror force, at least he's gonna trade with deck dev, I guess. And he has a solemn as well. So he solemns the torrential, which is like perfect for me too. I needed to bait out the solemn at some point. And then I have D-Prison for one of these. He deck devs on it, and he just sees my hand. But it completely whiffs. And then I draw a Trap Stun, which I reveal. And I'm thinking here, and he says it's game, not? And I'm like, I don't know if he meant for him or for me, because it looks like my hand is completely dead, and he has 4K on board, but I actually do have a play. So I Minecon the Greffer, pitch Sork, send Tomato, Mark of the Rose, banish Tomato, take Armed Wing, and then, this is weird, I attack with Armed Wing. Of course, it's funny that I drew Trap Stun 1 turn after the deck dev, like 1 turn too late. And he just scoops. He would have had 17, and then I Caius over this, banishing this, which would leave him at 700. But then he could still set Raikou. I would have set Trap Stun. So it would be Caius and Trap Stun, and I'm still under deck dev against a Raikou, but he scooped. I don't know. He must have thought that I could attack with Greffer, I guess. So it's funny. We take those once again. Round 5 was caught on stream. It's me against Barcode. Barcode's playing some weird Neospatian list. I had absolutely no idea what was in this list. So he starts off with Convert Contacts. I actually do know the Neospatian cards pretty well because I've played a lot of Carpath's Neospatian Hero deck. Honestly, I drew Titanial, of course. Opening Titanial. It's gonna happen from time to time. I get the Dust Shoot, and I put back Junk because I'm like, I don't care about Panther. Like, that card is not something I care about at all. But I do know he has Bottomless, Raigeki Break, and MST, which is like really annoying for me because I was hoping you wouldn't have. Yeah, I was hoping you couldn't stop my stuff. Me having the dead Titanial essentially means I'm playing 1 card down, so it's hard for me to get through all of his cards. I'm able to hit the MST. This Debris is good. I think I can, and I'm able to make this mistiming, which is funny. But unfortunately, I milled 3 pretty good cards. I think I considered just hard summoning Debris, but the problem is, first of all, Raigeki Break, and secondly, the Bottomless, which I know about. And there's one back row that I don't even know about. So yeah, I was hoping to draw something like maybe Milla Dandy, which would have been nice. 7 tomato here, because it gets under bottomless, but it eats a torrential, which is also not feeling great for me. So then he brings back the Porter, which is the, actually, I was kind of surprised he didn't go for the glow moss. But anyway, he's just attacking with these. I'm like, do I deprison these? No, I don't think so. I'm like waiting him for him to make Iron Chain because I have to get the full value out of this deprison. So I'm like, I need to have this deprison take out 2 cards, essentially. I draw another deprison, doesn't do anything. I'm holding the debris in my hand because I'm looking for an out to the bottomless or the Raigeki break. Like, they're still back there. I haven't been able to find anything. I do play a lot of like back row removal too. So no bottomless here. I bring back the, I was kind of hoping this would eat a bottomless, honestly, but like he doesn't need to do that. It's very smart of him to not bottomless there. Whenever, I had no idea that was even going to be Dandy, but good for me that I didn't synchro in main phase 1. But I'm just trying not, I'm like, I don't think it's worth synchroing into Iron Chain because I know there's a bottomless set. I know there's a Raigeki break set. Like, I think I'd rather have 2 cards and just top deck Caius, right? It's harder to clear 2 cards than it is to clear just the Iron Chain. Because I know either one of these back row clears the Iron Chain for a fact. So it's like, so it's actually better for me to leave them both. Here, he has 5 engrave, and he activates Avarice. And I'm like, I think I have to Solemn here. Because I think we're both, like, it feels like, first of all, I know these 2 cards, and I know Panther. And he's been playing in a position that makes me feel like his hand is kind of weak. So I'm like, I'm not going to give you 2 cards. This is like the chance that my Solemn has to trade 2 for 1. So I'm going to go for it. Raigeki breaks to take out the back row. Contacts off with the side draw, which I knew was possible. But I'm like hoping to, like, I had to leave the 2 on board so that I have the option of drawing Caius here, I think. Because it's better to have the Raikou on field and the option to draw Caius than it is to have the Iron Chain eat a bottomless and just eat 2k. Right? Unfortunately, I draw the torrential. Do I draw anything good here? Sangan is fine. Here, normally I want to float into something good, like a cat or Lone Fire, but this bottomless is just like destroying me. Obviously, I wouldn't go Lone Fire with Titanial gone. Yeah, the bottomless is just like somehow wrecking me. I can't play through it. So I go for a hamster because I'm like, this hamster, even if you summon something, I can set hamster and potentially like block and get rid of the bottomless if I need to. I'm able to draw the Avarice, which is really nice. And I drew a book, which is also nice. The book can turn this into 0/0 if I ever need to. I finally draw a back row out, which I'm main decking 2 Dust. And Heavy and MST. And 3 Raikou. So I get this to get a Raikou on field. Unfortunately, it is a Dandy. I think we're not in time yet, but we're about to go. No, actually, this is game 1, isn't it? The Heavy hurts so bad here. I think it was off the top, wasn't it? I don't know. Maybe he drew bottomless off the top. I do have the book for Hamster, which kind of mitigates it, but unfortunately, he has the Junk Synchron, which is lethal because he has a Black Rose play here by flipping up the Hamster that he knows is set. What's hilarious here, I probably lose either way. Because he could go into... No, I'm probably fine, actually. I don't know. If he goes... Like, if I don't book this hamster down, I don't think he can kill me that turn, because his best play then is Go-Yo. Attacking over this is only 17 instead of 24. So somehow the book actually hurt me. I could have activated the hamster effect there, but it didn't matter. I was dead. So we're in game 2, and I drew Titanial again. I'm going to brick sometimes, and I'm just kind of resigned to that fact. It's kind of like playing Lightsworn. You just accept that sometimes you just lose. But then I draw Monk, and I'm like, never mind. Pitch MST. We're ripping 2 cards, baby. Also, like Lightsworn, sometimes you just have some Dawn games. If I draw a Monk spell and you have no protection, it's pretty bad for them. Go Arcanite and attack because it's higher than 1800 if it has the 2 tokens. This is interesting. It's interesting to me that they... I thought they might have Sork here, and they might be trying to bait out the Raikou attack. Like, if I pop this, then they have the Sork live. But I was thinking maybe you have... They could Crow, like, just whenever they want to, and then summon Sork. But I was thinking maybe they want to Crow, eat the Raikou pop, and then Sork in main phase 2. So I thought, I'll just not pop, because I don't really care about this Crow anyway. So I can just pop both back row. It's not a problem. Normal Titanial, special Chaos Sork, and that's lethal. And I had the brain anyway, like I had that one. Also, this Convert Contact sending Hummingbird, like the fact that there are winds in this deck makes me think, okay, there has to be Dark Simorgh, right? I've seen Darks and Winds all over the place. So I'm like, in side decking, I was like, do I side out some of my back row? This Death Shoot lost me the game. Because if I have this Lone Fire, I think I'm totally fine. Because I go like heavy Lone Fire into Titanial on turn 1. And then my Debris is suddenly live. I have back row behind Titanial, and I have Crow. So I think I am just like golden there if I keep that Lone Fire, but unfortunately that is not how things transpired for me. And that's another thing that happens when you play these decks that rely on synergies more. Death Shoot hurts a lot more than if you're playing like Blackwing, where the cards are like decent by themselves. Like Ashura actually does something without having other cards. I Crow this because I have Bottomless, and if they make Stardust, then I'm just like in a really, really, really bad spot. And they're just gonna... Now I'm just like in a terrible, terrible spot because I don't have an out to this Grand Mole. I just drew one, but they drew MST, so they have heavy and MST. So yeah, I cannot get rid of the Grand Mole. This was a very weird play from Barcode. I don't know exactly what they were thinking. Oh, I think I just set Avarice as a bluff, so maybe they were scared of Avarice. I mean, good for me. And this time I set the Dandelion in case they were thinking it was going to be Debris again, and there was something they're going to try and do. Bring back Crow because I could make an 8 with Dandy. So my plan was actually to make RDA and hit this, destroy them both, and then set Book to protect it from Grand Mole, but it would have eaten a Bottomless anyway. I considered booking there, but there's no point. because it just gets bounced by Grand Mole. I'd rather have the book to hit the Grand Mole with. So they're making Brio, but they lose Prio because of Dandy, so I get to bottomless that, but they know that's coming. So then they adjunct Synchron. They go for lethal with Urikizas here. I have a Dead Avarice set and a Book of Moon. And we are now in time, yeah. I think that turn with Black Rose, the enemy Black Rose, was turn 0. So this is turn 2. I did draw something that gets over Urikizas, which is nice, but and I considered making Android here because, like, we're in time, it could matter, but they have Grand Mole, so there's absolutely no point to make a Synchro here. The Grand Mole kind of just owns me right now. Sidra just runs over a Vellum for free. Like, I was not winning this one. I think this one goes differently, if not for Dust Shoot, but, you know, it is what it is. So now we're 4-1 into round 6, and I'm playing Vayu, I think. Draw Titanial again. Love to see it. I feel like I'm drawing Titanial quite a bit now, but... Oh, and I get Dust Shooted, so they know my hand is dog. Sidra here. If I had a normal to go with the Sidra, like if I had a Dandy to set, it'd be kind of decent. I don't want to set my back row because I don't want to give them the option of hitting something I care about more than Sidra. Lone Fire was a good draw though, because I play more than just Dandy. I mean, I could go into Dandy here, but I usually prefer Tomato because Tomato could get me into the rest of my deck if it like floats into a Sangan or a Monk. Fortunately for me, he's not drawing anything good either. I don't know why he's holding onto his back row so much, but I don't hate it. So I was considering marking here, I think. I think I considered going mark on Vayu and trying to get greedy and rip something, but I'm glad I didn't do that. I thought they were shooting for Sirocco there, and I was going to be very sad. Fortunately, that's not what happened. They just have a Raikou. Yeah, my hand still does nothing, which is great. They drew a Greffer after summoning the Vayu, which is nice. No good mills. I'm getting hit for 1200. Sometimes it just works out for us. I just go for Black Rose here, right? Surely I just go for Black Rose. Oh, I attack these. I wonder why. Oh, I go for AFD. Interesting. Not sure if I agree with that. But I guess the Titanial's not real, so it doesn't make too much sense to reduce the game state when I have a fake card. But this Caius is like, Caius is the best card in Edison. It's so great. Because now I get to make this not float, and I get to banish this so that the two Sirocco and Grave aren't doing anything. And I'm milling to make my future Avarices or Debris like more live. So this turn was really, really good for me. And I have a bottomless to back it up. This is funny because if he had just, he pitches the Reaper because he has Burial. So I think he's hoping to go, yeah. Oh, he Plague. Interesting. Activates Plague. He wants to go Goyo. This is really, really aggressive. I don't agree with that. But he knows he's drawing Burial for turn. But Burial doesn't do anything. He doesn't have enough cards. So I don't know what the plan was here. I guess he's just gonna try and survive here by summoning this. But he doesn't have another card in grave. So I'm not scared at all. His best draw here is Armageddon Knight. Because he can send a value. He draws a dead dad. Here I actually just attack with Cat. Because it's funnier. This hand is kind of mid. Don't have anything. Okay, it just got a lot better with the Sangin, I think. Wow. Since I know it's Vayu, I'm like, there's a very good chance this is a Raikou or Hamster. And I was extremely lucky that it was. And not a Vayu, like a set Vayu. A set Vayu or a set Spirit Reaper would have ruined my day. And then he oppressions his own hamster, which is interesting. I have Trap Stun for oppression, so I'm not even like too worried. This is for oppression or it's for deck dev. Just gonna try and run over the Sangin. And here I'm like, I was thinking I might have lethal here, which is insane to think. That after an oppression, like one oppression and one Sangin hit, I'm close to lethal. I'm trying to think here. There's a way that this could have been lethal, I think. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyways, it wasn't quite lethal. I was 100 off if I make Android, because I can make Android and then steal this and summon Sork, and it would have been lethal through everything except book. Or track, I guess. But instead, I don't want to give him his Armageddon Knight back. So instead of making Android, I make Mistworm here. And this is why Sork is like not as dead as you would expect it to be. Because like every time you make Cat, you're putting a light in grave if you want to. And he can't oppression me. I love trap stunning people through oppression because now he's locked under his own oppression. So he can't go into like a plague play here. He has to go for this Armed Wing. And I get to Mirror Force him here. He does have the Burial to protect himself from like game. And I think we're worried about, what are we thinking about here? Yeah, I don't know. There's like nothing that, I mean like deck dev is even fine for me. I have the mark. If he had deck dev there, well, it wouldn't have won me the game, but it would make my mark live. He has a D prison for the worm. So here I am pretty sure I have lethal because if I Lone Fire summon, he negates the special summon, he pays 800 and then I mark kill him because I'll banish the Lone Fire. He doesn't end up paying, which I think was smart. I think he realized that I was trying to bait 800 life points out of him. But I'm like, okay, then I'll just summon Titanial. And he banishes that. But then I have lethal here with the Dandy and the Gale. I mean, I guess I could have gone for Tomato there. But I actually kind of like that I ate the Bottomless so that I knew I had lethal, like guaranteed. Anyways, now I'm 5-1. And now I face J-Kiss on Blackwing. We're in round 7. I'm fighting for my life. I basically have to, I know I have to win out to get top 8. Like I was like pretty certain that I was not gonna get in on tiebreakers. Drawing 2 Avarice against Blackwing feels really bad because it's so slow. And then I eat a bunch of damage with Bora, and these tokens are gonna eat some damage from Bora. I do have this, so I'm like, okay, my Titanium play is gonna go through. And Titanium is so good against Icarus attacks specifically, but it's pretty weak against Kalute. But if something's going to eat a Kalute, I'd rather it be a Bora hitting over a Titanium rather than like a Shura. So it doesn't feel great, but you know, it is what it is. This is pretty bad because I don't have protection. These Avarices are just not doing it. This game looks so bad for me, but I think the debris just walks. Like, I think I just go Black Rose and it works. I don't remember. Maybe it doesn't. No, on res, he Icaruses. Which is not... Oh, here. That makes my Avarice live. I knew that whatever I did with this debris makes my Avarice live, so... I'm going to actually have cards that do things, which is nice. Unfortunately, they're not doing too much right now. I draw the MST for Whirlwind, which is nice, and I'm like, okay... Maybe he doesn't have another Kalute, but he did. So that didn't feel great either. But it's actually almost good to get the tokens off the field sometimes. Like when they have a Bora, I'd almost prefer to get the tokens off the field, because then I can actually block with monsters. This was such a tough decision because my life points are so low, and I'm like, he really might have all 3 Kalute. I had to calculate. I'm like, okay, 1700 over 800 Gorse token isn't lethal. All kinds of stuff. I was like terrified. If he could make an Armed Wing, I guess the Greffer here, could he? He didn't have anything engrave, but if he had like a Sirocco or a Vayu engrave, he would have it. He would have game. So yeah, he attacks with the Vayu and I drop Gores. Because I just didn't see the hamster was going to bring me victory, and I needed every card in my hand to do something. So I can't afford to just like, if I hamster, then he can like pierce over the Raikou, and then my Gores is never getting dropped ever. So here I have to pray that there's no Kalute, which there would have been on the Bora attack, so I know that there's no Kalute. I think I considered going Foolish here, but I'm like, no. If he has another Bora, I'm not losing to Pierce. I still would have lost to a Blizzard here, because the Blizzard over this hamster would have killed me. Or the Armed Wing over the hamster. So I think my other Avarice is live. Not yet. It's 1 card away from being live, but if I can get the Debris engrave or the Foolish, then it is live. I think I go for Foolish here. Foolish and then Avarice. Using the tokens, like putting the tokens on field doesn't feel great, but I have to hope that I can win before they are relevant. Drawing Cat is nice. I think I try and go into Iron Chain here to get the tokens off the field. That gets bottom list. And then I just start hitting. I actually have a book to protect me at this point, which is nice. And he draws Brain Con off the top. But I know this last card is Greffer. How do I know that? Oh, because he searched it off Rhoda. So, like, my natural instinct is, okay, you're going to brain, I'm just going to book this. But then he has lethal with Grepher over hamster. So I just let this go through, book my hamster. Now I've got Ryko, and he loses, because I have exact game with Cat. I guess he just knew it. He didn't know I had Cat, though. So I don't know what was going on there. Well, no, I was getting the Gores back also, because he had no way to convert it. Alright, so somehow pulled that one out despite being down a billion life points early. And I want to put my Titanial behind a trap stun before I commit it. That doesn't feel great, but I don't have a way to stop it. I think I'm just gonna, oh, and the knock too. I forgot that happened. So yeah. Doesn't feel amazing. Eating damage. Do I remember to... I do. Okay. I have the... I think he has Collude again. Or didn't he just search it out? Yeah. So he searched out the Collude, so I'm like, I'm going to make you spend it on this Cyber Dragon instead of being able to use it on Titanial. Which I'm kind of fine with. I'll trade Collude for Sidra any day. Now he's on 2 darks. He had the Crow, which I didn't know. So, but fortunately Titanial protects against Dad. She's like so good. I just have to let him keep going with the whirlwind searches and pray that there's no Starlight Road set, but he doesn't even attack, which kind of tells me there is no Starlight Road. What do I have in grave here? I'm just going to set the hamster and set this because I didn't want, like, if he has like a battle trap or something, I'm not going to run my Titanial into it. I'd rather save my trap stun for something else. And I have the Mirror Force to clear his monsters. Finally have the Dust Tornado for that. And he says deck dev. And this is why I love trap stun so much. So I'm going to bring back Lone Fire. On res, he activates deck dev, and I trap stun. So now you just neg 1'd yourself and left me an empty board. So, that sucks. Sucks for you. And I can just, like, the only thing that stops me now is book anyway. I actually get to summon the Airbellum off the hamster, because he knocked all my Rykos, but I still get to get a plus. Yeah. And that's game. So, now it's winning in. I am 7-1, right? No, 6-1. And going into round 8. And I'm playing Yondaime, also on Blackwing. This game does not go my way at all. I lose, like... So this hand I actually like. I'm, like, kind of okay with this hand. But I don't want to commit Cat yet. I want to pick something off Dust Tornado or, like, maybe draw something first. And he hits a 50-50 on Mirror Force, which feels really bad. Because if he hits Dust Tornado, that's like a plus for me. I'm totally fine with that. But now he just gets to go in with these two. And in the end phase, I have to hit something with Dust, and I hit Yada. So that's a neg 1 for me. So now I'm just like losing both of those 50-50s. And turns out it really, really, really mattered. Because his other back row is a card that hurts so bad. Bottomless. So that's going to banish both my Airbellums. And it makes all my Minecon, well, it makes my Minecon dead. And it makes the BrainCon and Mark of the Rose a lot worse. there's no point in booking there either because, you know, these two just like love an Airbellum in defense. The plan was Cat or summon the Airbellums, then Foolish for Dandy, and I could make Colossal Fighter and run over the Bora. And then set book behind it, but unfortunately didn't work out. Because the Colossal would play through Kalut. So now I'm fighting for my life. And I'm like, okay, I got this game. I have Trap Stun, Mind Con, Monk Spell with Bottomless too. Like, I'm like, I am so winning this game. And I'm summoning Raya, so you can't even whirlwind me on turn 1. Like, and then Heavy. I'm like, I lose to Heavy. And that's what they had. But I feel like I feel like it's worth doing. It's worth setting these two because like I have a really hard time losing this game if they don't have Heavy or something to stop the Monk play. But not only do they have Heavy, they have like the one card that would have worked through Trap Stun anyway, which is Book. So that's what makes Trap Stun a little bit worse than Cold Wave, but it's so much better against deck dev, and you can actually respond to things like deprison and stuff. So yeah, they book there. Like, this is just this is how my tournament run ends, and don't know if there's much I could have done. I think I played this fine. Sometimes they're gonna have Heavy. And Book, I guess. But at least if they had not Heavied, I could have Bottomless something. And they might not have. Yeah, if I had Bottomless, I'm not sure if they would have been able to. I don't know. I'm not sure if they would have been able to even get over the Monk in defense, which is funny to think about. So here I hit the back row because I'm like, the way I win this game is by getting like Lone Fire, I think. Yeah, I was thinking the way I win this game is by drawing Lone Fire, because Lone Fire, first of all, it would make my Avarice live soon. But I can go Lone Fire, Pio, Tribute itself, and then Chain Torrential, wipes his whole field, and I'm summoning Titanial, and then I Avarice. So I was trying to play to my out by hitting the back row and leaving the pressure on board, but didn't go so well for me. I'm not quite dead yet. And I don't want to set these as bluffs because of Icarus. Right now the Icarus isn't live. So here I Debris. Debris makes my Avarice live as soon as these two go to the grave. They deck dev, and I chain Torrential on it. So that's like a decent trade for me, honestly. And they're not hitting anything out of my hand. And here, I don't want to Avarice under deck dev, but I'm forced to because I have 300 life points, right? So I have to put all 5 back. And just hope that I don't draw. I need to hope that I draw a trap and something that's like not trash under deck dev. I draw 2 things that the deck dev doesn't even hit, but since I have no protection, I just lose the game. So that's that. I think it showed that I come prepared against deck dev in games 2 and 3, which like you just have to do if you're playing one of these decks. The fact that Bellum doesn't get hit by deck dev makes the deck a lot more resilient than Quick Draw, I think. Because your actual, like, your tuners aren't getting hit. And Airbellum, you can just summon it on a, like, if they deck dev leaving you an empty field, you just summon Bellum and rip cards out of their hand. It's, like, not the worst thing you could be doing. Anyways, that's how my run went. I thought there's some cool plays, especially the Minecon on Greffer, Send Tomato, Activate Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose performed generally pretty well. Here it obviously wasn't doing anything, but for the most part, I think it won me more games than it lost me. So worth having. And it's people still like, I think people still don't expect it because people are just used to only playing around one BrainCon. So yeah, I think I had a good run. I wasn't going to make another video about this deck, but I thought that these replays would be a little bit exciting, at least. And I'll see you in the next video, I guess. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed the replays, and adios.